bill, but steps taken by the Council to improve.
Call Paul Goldsmith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're dealing with clauses 1 and 2, I believe, of this bill. The title, which is the Tasman District Council Validation and Recovery of Certain Rates Act. I suppose it could just as easily be the Tasman District Council Recovery and Validation of Certain Rates. But I think the validation probably should come first, followed by the recovery. If we were to have the recovery before the validation, we'd get ourselves into a terrible pickle. And so I think I agree, in essence, with the title as it's laid out. It has to be the Tasman District Council because that is the council that is affected by this bill. It can't be any other. And what puzzles me, however, Mr. Chair, is that it says 2013 because, as we all know, it is 2014 at the moment. But I presume that is something that would be that's part of how it is operated. So we're dealing here with the Tasman District Council validation and recovery of certain rates. And that, I suppose, in essence, is what the problem we had with the legislation is the rates weren't certain at all because they had been incorrectly rated. And so this bill here is indeed attempting to validate what had been made uncertain by the poor process. And so if we can make those rates more certain, then we can give certainty back to the people of the Tasman District Council who have been going through a difficult time because of this bill. The second clause relates to when the Act comes into force. And again, the suggestion is that it would be the day after the date on which it receives royal assent. And again, that makes perfect sense because you certainly wouldn't want it to take force the day before it received royal assent because that wouldn't be appropriate. It could have been considerably later at any particular given time, and indeed a number of people considered various options. It could have been the 1st of January 2015, for example, but in essence the committee was persuaded that it didn't make any sense necessarily to stick with the 1st of January, but to go with as is suggested, as to come into force exactly on the day after the date in which this bill receives its royal assent. And on that basis, Mr. Chair, I think I'll leave it. I just wanted to make a short call on these clauses 1 and 2. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
We come to the vote on the clauses, members. The question is, clause 1 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question is, clause 2 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. I will report this bill without amendment presently. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Who's taking over from you? Whose is it? Is it? You should be also. Okay. Members, we now move to the Sullivan Birth Registration Bill, and the question is that the preamble stand part. I call Chris Ockenvold.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it's a pleasure to stand to discuss